If you're over 65 and you still stretch your body every single morning before you start your day, you are already doing something that most people your age have quietly stopped doing. But here's the part that surprises almost everyone. A lot of the seniors who do stretch every morning are making one small mistake that cancels out a good chunk of the benefit, and they have no idea it's happening. Stick with me for the next few minutes, because by the end of this, you'll know exactly what that mistake is, and you'll also know the handful of small habits that separate the people who stay mobile and independent well into their 80s from the people who slowly lose the ability to do simple things like reaching a top shelf or getting up off the floor without help. Let's start with why this even matters so much once you pass 65. When you were younger, your body could sit still all night, wake up stiff, and shake it off within a few minutes without you ever thinking about it. Your joints had plenty of fluid, your muscles were elastic, and your body just naturally reset itself. As we get older, that reset doesn't happen automatically anymore. Overnight, while you're lying still for 7 or 8 hours, the fluid that lubricates your joints doesn't circulate the way it used to. Muscles that were already a little tight from yesterday get even tighter. That's why so many people over 65 wake up feeling like their body has turned to wood, especially in the lower back, the hips, and the knees. This is completely normal. It isn't a sign that something is wrong with you. It's simply a natural part of aging, the same way hair changes color or eyesight shifts. But here's the important part. This stiffness isn't permanent every day. It's something you can largely undo every single morning with just a few minutes of the right kind of movement. The people who understand this and act on it tend to stay steadier on their feet, get in and out of chairs more easily, and avoid a lot of the aches that other people just accept as getting old. So if morning stretching matters this much, why do so many seniors stop doing it? Here's what happens for most people. Somewhere around retirement, the daily structure that used to force movement disappears. No more walking to the car for the commute, no more standing at a workstation, no more climbing stairs at the office. Suddenly, the body has far fewer reasons to move first thing in the morning, and stretching, which used to feel automatic, starts to feel optional. Then there's the excuse almost everyone tells themselves at some point, I'll do it later. Later turns into after breakfast, then after the news, then somehow the whole morning is gone and the moment has passed. Some people stop because they tried stretching once, felt a little discomfort in a stiff joint, and decided their body just isn't made for that anymore. Others stop simply because nobody ever showed them a routine that felt manageable, so it always felt like a chore instead of something they looked forward to. And then there's a quieter reason, one that doesn't get talked about enough. A lot of people over 65 start to believe that stretching is something for younger, more athletic people, not for someone their age. That belief alone convinces otherwise capable people to sit down in a chair first thing in the morning instead of gently moving their body. And over months and years, that decision adds up. Before we go further, let's talk about the mistakes, because even the seniors who are still stretching every day are often doing at least one or two of these without realizing it. The first mistake is stretching cold, meaning stretching the very first thing after getting out of bed without any warm-up at all. Muscles and connective tissue are least flexible right when you wake up, so diving straight into a deep stretch can actually work against you. The second mistake is holding a stretch by bouncing instead of holding it still. Bouncing, sometimes called ballistic stretching, can put unnecessary strain on tissue that's already tight from sleep. The third mistake is rushing through the routine in under a minute just to check a box. A rushed stretch rarely gives your joints enough time to actually loosen. The fourth mistake is only stretching the areas that already feel fine, like the arms, while ignoring the hips and lower back, which are usually the stiffest and most important areas for someone over 65. The fifth mistake is holding your breath during a stretch. This is incredibly common, and it actually increases tension in the body instead of releasing it. The sixth mistake is forcing a stretch to the point of sharp pain, mistaking pain for progress. A gentle pull is normal. Sharp pain is your body telling you to back off. The seventh mistake is doing the exact same 3 stretches every single day for years without ever adjusting for new stiffness or new areas of tightness that develop over time. The eighth mistake is stretching without any support nearby, like a chair or a countertop, which becomes especially important for balance-related stretches. The ninth mistake is stretching once and assuming that's enough for the whole day, when a short check-in stretch in the afternoon or evening can meaningfully help with stiffness that builds up from sitting. The 10th mistake, and this one surprises people, is skipping stretching entirely on days when they feel good, thinking, I don't need it today. Ironically, the days you feel best are often the result of consistency, not a sign that you can skip it. Now here's something even more surprising. A lot of these mistakes aren't happening because people are lazy or careless. They're happening because of myths that seniors have absorbed over the years. Myths that sound reasonable but simply aren't true. The first myth is, I'm too old to start now. The truth is that mobility can improve at any age, including in your 70s, 80s, and beyond. The body responds to gentle, consistent movement no matter when you begin. The second myth is, it's too late for me. The damage is already done. While some changes from aging and past injuries are permanent, the goal of morning stretching was never to reverse the past. It's to improve how your body feels and moves today, and that is absolutely still possible. The third myth is, I don't have the energy for this in the morning. In reality, gentle stretching tends to increase energy rather than drain it, because it improves circulation and helps you feel more awake without needing caffeine to do all the work. The fourth myth is, I have arthritis, so stretching will make it worse. For most people with arthritis, gentle range of motion movement is actually encouraged because joints that don't move regularly tend to get stiffer, not better. Of course, anyone with arthritis should always follow the specific guidance their own doctor has given them. The fifth myth is, I don't need this anymore because I'm already retired and not that active. Ironically, being less active during the day is exactly why morning stretching matters more, not less, for retirees. The sixth myth is, stretching is only for athletes or people trying to get in shape. Stretching for someone over 65 isn't about performance. It's about being able to comfortably reach the top shelf, bend down to tie a shoe, or turn around to check the back seat of the car without wincing. Now, let's talk about the science behind all of this. In plain, everyday language, no complicated terms needed. As we age, the tissue that surrounds our muscles and joints, called connective tissue, naturally becomes a little less elastic. Think of it like a rubber band that's been left in a drawer for years. It still works, but it doesn't stretch quite as easily as a brand new one. The good news is that gentle, regular movement helps keep that rubber band more pliable than it would be if it were left alone. At the same time, the fluid inside your joints, which acts like oil in a hinge, tends to move more slowly when your body has been still for a long period, like overnight sleep. Gentle stretching in the morning helps get that fluid circulating again, which is a big part of why so many people feel noticeably less stiff within just a few minutes of starting to move. There's also a balance piece to this. As we get older, the small stabilizing muscles around our hips, ankles, and core naturally lose a bit of strength and responsiveness if they aren't regularly engaged. Certain gentle mobility stretches, especially ones done while standing near support, help keep those stabilizing muscles active, which plays a meaningful role in reducing fall risk over time. None of this requires anything intense. We're not talking about deep athletic stretching. We're talking about slow, controlled, gentle movement that respects where your body is today. Let me share 3 fictional examples to show what this can look like in real life. These are fictional examples created for illustration. Margaret is 73 years old and lives alone. For years, she woke up and immediately felt like her lower back needed 10 minutes just to unlock before she could comfortably walk to the kitchen. She started doing 5 simple stretches every morning, done slowly while holding onto the back of a sturdy chair. Within a few weeks, she noticed she wasn't gripping the hallway wall on her way to make coffee anymore. She still has some stiffness, especially on cold mornings, but it no longer controls the first hour of her day. Robert is 79 and had always believed stretching was for younger folks. After a small stumble getting out of his recliner scared him more than he wanted to admit, he began a very gentle morning routine focused mainly on his hips and ankles. He didn't become an athlete. He simply noticed that getting up from chairs became smoother, and he felt more confident walking to get the mail without worrying about his balance. Dorothy is 81 and has mild arthritis in her hands and knees. She was hesitant at first, worried that any movement would cause more pain. With guidance from her doctor, she started with extremely gentle range of motion movement for just a few minutes each morning. Over time, she found that the first hour of her day felt noticeably less rigid, and she was able to get down to garden her flower beds again, something she had quietly given up 2 years earlier. These stories aren't about dramatic transformations. They're about small, steady improvements that build on themselves over weeks and months. Now, this next part is important, so please listen closely. Not everyone should jump into a new stretching routine without a conversation with their doctor first. If you have significant heart disease, if you've had a recent joint replacement, if you live with severe arthritis, if you have a diagnosed balance disorder, or if you're managing a chronic illness that affects your strength or coordination, please talk to your healthcare provider before starting or changing any movement routine. The same goes if you're on medications that affect dizziness or blood pressure, since standing stretches in particular should be approached carefully in those cases. This isn't meant to scare you away from moving. It's meant to make sure you move in the way that's safest and most appropriate for your specific situation. For most healthy older adults without these concerns, though, a few minutes of gentle morning stretching, done consistently and done correctly, tends to be one of the simplest and safest habits available for supporting comfortable, independent movement as the years go on. So let's bring this all together. The people who maintain a daily stretching habit into their 70s, 80s, and beyond aren't necessarily doing anything extreme. They're avoiding the small mistakes we talked about. They've let go of the myths that used to hold them back, and most importantly, they show up for it consistently, even on days they don't feel like it. That consistency, more than any single perfect stretch, is what actually makes the difference over time. You don't need to be perfect at this. You don't need a complicated routine or special equipment. You simply need to show up gently every morning and give your body a few honest minutes before you ask it to carry you through the rest of the day. I'd love to know, what does your morning routine look like right now? And is there one stretch or movement you already rely on to feel less stiff? Leave a comment and let me know. I read through them and it genuinely helps shape future videos. If this video was helpful, please consider giving it a like, subscribing for more videos like this one, and sharing it with a friend or family member who could use a little encouragement to keep moving. I'm Alan Mercer, an AI-generated educational presenter created to explain evidence-informed health information in a simple and accessible way. I'm not a real physician, and this content is for educational purposes only.